Hey guys, so I'm doing this just quick brush over recording on this new Excel that the girls have prepared here. So I'm not going to go through everything because I've clarified a lot of these things in my last recordings, but this is the final one that Alvin you will upload now. So I just want to go through these columns real quick just to make sure that you're clear with what we're doing. So we've got a few tabs here as normal, so we call this material code, this tab, but really, as we discussed, not all the material codes are included now because the material code makes up name of the paper and the color. And the color, now instead of listing it here, I've put it back how we had the old way, which we have the color names in here. Yeah, so these are all the color names. So and because the color of the paper is a integral part of the material code makeup structure, this won't have all the material codes, and you will use your formula to assemble and put together the material codes based on this data. Alright, so I'll go quickly from left to right and touch base on these columns again. These orange ones are the ones that we marked that are making up the code. So category M is just a material code, as you know. This is not these are all M, so nothing to explain here. Supplier names are listed here. This is the English and a Korean name. Yes, a lot of our staff are Korean. They're logging to the CMS. At some stage they will need to look up the supplier for the paper. They would like to see the Korean name. Okay, this is the code for this supplier, so you'll see that we've used SE. First two letters of the supplier name goes into the supplier code. Now this is the supplier paper name, as you know, the supplier calls the paper. This is in English, this is in Korean. This is the weight of the paper, so it's GSM or this other symbol, microns, and this is points. Yeah, so in Australia it's GSM, in US it's points, so system will need to record both. Okay. This is basically the column I is combination of the name and the weight. Yeah, so you can see no bleach, 300 GSM goes in here. Yeah, so you might not even need this column because you can essentially combine columns here. But anyway, you know, the girls need to see this at some stages. This is not showing anywhere on the front end, by the way. Only the green stuff is showing up on the front end. Yeah, so only the green stuff is showing on the front end. These yellow ones and orange ones are only for the back end. Yeah, so name code is basically the paper name code. So we're looking at NBC, so that is the first three letters of the supplier paper name, and then underscore 300 basically it's just a GSM, just a number from the GSM. That is the logic. Yeah, so but anyway, so this name code here is for the we're taking that and we're taking this back here. Okay, so we've got the name code there. Now pattern, it's just the pattern is something for us that we will need to know again in the back end for our quoting purposes. It's really the only thing you need to upload now, Alvin, is does pattern exist on this paper? 1 is for yes, 0 is for no. That's the only thing. Yeah, so at a later stage I will ask you to produce, say if I'm looking at this paper here, paper code NBC 300, is there a pattern on that paper? Yes, there is. Is there a pattern on matte black 350 GSM? No, there is no pattern on this paper, and that's the only thing you'll need to know, is just a yes or no. Weight, now we don't have the weight, so this is something we're going to use for shipping later on. We're going to weigh up what is the physical weight of 100 physical business cards in grams, and that's a unit we will calculate for the shipping. I don't have the weight for now, so we might even remove this for now and I'll just upload this later, so don't worry about this. Okay, now the green is obviously, like I said, this is the stuff we're showing on our website. So this is the ink tank name, so this is the name, this is how we call it, this is what the customer sees. Yeah, so this is your paper name. Yeah, RIP 300, graph 300, etc. So that is the stuff that shows up in a final paper name on the front of the website, as you know. This is your color colors as you requested them in with numbers. 0, no color, so I don't have the column color yes, color no. I'll just have 0 and there's no color. If I have a numbers, then you just refer to the paper colors tab here. On the second tab, these are the numbers, and these are the names of the color that you refer back from here. Yeah, as you know, this is all for the last formula. Now, just while I'm on this, the paper color name tab, here we have the code. So, like I said, the code of the paper name color, code of the paper color is the part of the material code makeup structure. So, for example, Cocoa Shell is the 3 digits for that is CRU, etc., etc. Yeah. So these are the codes you will use then to make up the paper codes. Okay. So I guess we got a couple of other things here that I don't think you will need, which is the we're just basically referring that this paper is in this paper name. So you actually don't need these. Don't let this confuse you. You can delete these. And the final code is just an example of what the code will look like. Yeah, and that there will be the color, the paper color code component of the makeup structure of the material code. Okay, so basically you only need this column. These are the numbers that we're referring to in the other spreadsheet. This is the name that you will show in the drop down under the color, and this is the code you will use to create a makeup structure of a final material code. Okay. Now the category, this I'm going to delete. You don't actually need this. This is the product type, product category, so just which category we're showing these in. You're already familiar with this logic. I'm not going to repeat this. As you are familiar with the printing options, printing options. Now, 99 is no printing. I'm just going to replace this with 0 so it's easier for you guys. Yes, so printing options. So if there's a 99, let's just replace that. Define and replace. 99 will be 0. So 0 basically means no printing option is available for that one, so you won't show the printing as you know. Otherwise, if we show you these numbers, then you will just pull these printing options. Yeah, so we've got the printing options tab. In the same way how you have the color of the paper, you also have the codes for printing. Essentially, as you know, printing and special finishes are they have a very similar makeup structure in the CMS database. So for this printing option number 10, this is the display name. This is the one color one side in the drop down, and the process code for that is as per the column C. Yeah, so the process code is important because the same printing option could have a different process code, because that indicates that one printing option can be done by multiple suppliers. Yeah, so let me explain again how the structure of the process code works. So P stands for process, HA is the supplier. We have a suppliers tab here, so you can see that HA is Hannah print. Now 1S is the attribute, so one side or one color, I guess. It stands for one color, and then one side, one color, whichever way this works, as I explained earlier. If you get stuck with any of these, just let me know. But just to give you an example of the same of the same printing option that has multiple codes, for example, 81 has full color one side, and then 87 has full color one side printing option. But as you can see, the supplier for this is WW, which you will find is Whirlwind, and the supplier is PC, which I don't know who it is, but anyway, they both do full color one side. But why we need these to separate is because we will have different prices, and we might have some different options, but in this case these are the same options, so full color one side, but we'll have different prices allocated. Okay, that's why, in case you're getting confused with why are there same printing options for multiple codes in here, that is because the supplier for those is different and the price will be different as well. Okay, so the printing options in there, so the size stays as per the previous version, so you've got the sizes in all these three, and then custom size just like you coded at the moment, it's all correct. Same with the quantity, that hasn't changed. And then obviously we have here all the finishing options, with ones for yes and 0 for no, not available for that paper type. And these are the codes of the processes. Yeah, so see, for example, here we have 2 laminate options. This is SP is for process, SU is for supplier 1, and then WH is for supplier 2. Yeah, so we have 2 types of laminates. As from a previous document, you can dig up which options you will show for the on a front end for this supplier, and which options you will show for laminate for this supplier WH. Okay. Pretty much I think all these are covered now, so you should be familiar with all this logic here, and you know what options you show for each one. But after you've uploaded, I'll recheck all these for you. Now I also have this process codes tab here. Yeah, so this process codes has a large number of, so 253 process codes. So just have a look. So I'm not sure if you will need these. This is more for you to understand the makeup of the process codes that I explained earlier. Categories are the categories. Printing options I explained. Size, quantity, suppliers you explained. Now I also have this tab here, material cost, which has been finalized. Yeah, so the material costs basically list all the material codes in all the size options and quantity options, and that will give you a cost column here. Now whether you upload this in the stage 1 upload, when you do this, you probably won't. You probably will just upload this database here and then give us access to front end, where we can check to make sure these are all correctly uploaded, and when I select the correct processes, that my correct options show up. But then, just so you know, the material codes are all listed in here with the individual sizes and quantity and the cost column here. Yeah, so if you have a look at this, there's 3,000 material codes. So there's 3,000 prices, because you'll find the same material code here is repeated multiple times, because we have this size, you know, this quantity, and just have a combination of them here. Yeah, so basically all the combinations have the prices here listed. Now what you need to know is that this cost here is going to be our own internal cost. So when we upload this cost table, this cost matrix, I will give you more information, but this isn't the price that will show to the customer. This will be our own internal cost, so how much it costs us to acquire 200 quantities of paper in this size. Yeah, and then obviously on top of this there'll be the processing costs. Yeah, so we have a list of all the processing costs here, and then the same sort of a cost per quantity table in here. Obviously there's no sizes for processes, it's just the quantity and the cost, so it's only 1200 combinations here. And then basically once you add up the material cost and the process cost based on what I select on the front end, we will know what it physically costs my business to acquire that product, and then we'll apply profit margins on that. But I'll talk to you about that in my next recording. Yeah, yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So let's focus on getting all this data uploaded. Once again, all the green stuff you should be familiar with and how it's going to function. we're adding a few new details in terms of what we're going to store internally. And this again, this we're not going to show on display because it's marked in yellow color. This we're going to use under the quoting section for our own internal purposes when we are making quotes. Okay, so I'll stop this now, I'll upload it, and then you let me know if you've got any questions. Okay.